Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our journey in learning just a little bit more about this amazing language every day. Yesterday, we talked about 娇俏可人, and I show you a picture of an actress who's considered the golden standard of this description, this way to describing pretty woman or a looker in Chinese, which is 娇俏可人. And today we have two characters inherited, but we have something inserted in between. 法律俏佳人 is a contemporary translation of American movie. Okay, 俏 the same, small, meat person means skinny, small framed, petite. That's our standard. You have to meet to be considered pretty over there. And then 人 here, instead of a man, here it's definitely a woman, because 家人, oftentimes we use that phrase to describe woman. Because there's a judging there, right? Like a classification, like who is judged? Like who is judging? It's men judging women. 家 or not, 俏 or not, right? And both 俏 and 家 are descriptors of the woman, the classifier. So here, this 人, instead of like a 可人, 可人 is like a pleasing, agreeable, appealing to man. So man is the judging side of, and here, 人, same character, but in this context, if it's 俏佳人, because 俏 and 佳 are the descriptors of this 人, and it's women who are being judged here. A little bit, I guess, contemporary reading of the back English back then. And 人, you can see, I mean, 家 and 俏, by the way, this 俏, I couldn't find the original Chinese characters in its original form, so I kind of format myself because I know the left side is this person symbol, which should look like that. And then 俏, I find this 俏 character and then combine them to customize it for you, so you can see how it should be written back then. And 家, it looks like this. So when a generic person, it looks like openly not connected R, English R letter, right? And if it's put to the left side, there's no such details anymore. It's just straight down. But still, like one side is draping over the other side. So that's how it should be written. So I should update this. The right side, we have two soil signs. If it's a cross on top of horizontal line, that's our soil symbol, two soils stacking together. It could mean that, but actually in this context, in this character, the same structure, it came from a different inspiration or depiction, visual depiction of an ancient ceremonial device. If you ever visited Metropolitan Museum or other museums that have Eastern Asian, ancient Chinese, mostly ancient Chinese, like 3,000 or 4,000, 5,000 years ago, when the technology back then somehow can make very complicated, very delicate, highly decorative copper. I think it was copper, not brass, because they turn green veneer eventually, and so many different shapes, and they each have their name, have their own character, have their own function, have their own shape, have their own story inscribed or engraved on it. I mean, it's a whole study that could went, like you can dedicate your whole life studying into that. So this character is describing one kind of ceremonial, that metal, copper, highly decorated device that people, the rich people, I mean back then, who can afford such a kind of device to when they are welcoming some important guest, or they are kind of praying to their god back then, or if they have family passed away, so some big ceremonies, they will take out this device that looks kind of like that, kind of a tall standing device, right? Not device, but container that's used on the ceremony. So there is a regality related to that. And so this regal combined with the person sign together, that means good quality. Like basically you're bringing out not just your silverware. Imagine your best silverware, heirloom silverware, right? Heirloom silverware, the best of your domestic things that actually used in ceremony or for the look you inherited, and it's a pretty extravagant looking thing. So that's the kind of a jia we're talking about. It's the top quality, the best of the best quality on a person. So this kind of vaguely judging a woman especially, right? So what's considered a good woman? So I didn't go into that further. So basically it means the best woman, or at least the best in your mind. Pretty is the physical character, and jia probably is more internal character. So 俏佳人. So this is the type of woman describing here. Externally, internally, high quality woman. Okay. And then 法律. 法律 is a contemporary translation of the Western law and order concept in Chinese. I think it's very important concept. And finally, we came across this. So 法 came from the water sign on the left. So this is the water sign. And then we skip this because this is so complicated. There's no way in contemporary simplified Chinese version we can put in so much stroke. It takes forever to write that out, but it looks like an animal, right? So it's kind of like a unicorn, legendary animal with 4 legs with kind of fancy horn there, kind of magical legendary animal over there who can tell right from wrong, and who the 法 is describing this court hearing basically. And then we have this symbol or character, basically a starfish figure with this cave thing, like a person departing from the cave. So eventually it means departure or leave. So if this unicorn in Chinese back then concept is telling this person's no good, and then this person will be get rid of. So that's the departure meaning here. And eventually this was left out, and then we only have the water sign and this getting somebody to leave. So I guess back then, instead of corporal punishment, which is commonly used if you break the law, right? You got physically punished. And then there's another way, is to dispatch you, to remove you from hometown, away from family, from your own community. And that's a severe punishment back then. Okay, ancient times, we don't have convenience of traveling for far, right? Most of people live within a small area. That if you were sent away from far to a far land, may or may not make it back to your family, especially to support your parents in their older age. That's considered a huge punishment to this person. And water sign there simply means to be fair, as even as water. So in English concept, the law, the fairness of the law or justice of the law is expressed by the scale, right? Left side, right side, they are even, like you're weighing things basically to get justice, to have it even, right? In Chinese, it's expressed by the water surface being flat, being even. Like if there is any distance, different elevation of the water, eventually it will flash, right, to the even surface. So that's our concept of law. we have the staging, we have the result, and we have the quality, which is justice involved in this character. And 律 is simply, we have the 3-finger hand symbol, which means hand holding this brush, hand holding brush. So this means somebody is actually writing. And then the left side means practice or action, because the 3 strokes, kind of rhythmic, is our footsteps. So there is a left and right side, and eventually get rid of the right side, only the left side. 3 is enough to mean recurring pattern. It's footstep, and from footstep, that was extended into basically your practice, your action, your behavior. So behavior level written down, that's our order. So basically it's behavior level instructions of what you can or cannot do. So that's our law and order. Law and order, pretty good, woman. It's a translation for legally blonde. So it makes total sense, right? So I consider it a good English to Chinese translation, because it talks about legally, and 俏佳人 back then, right? We translated 俏佳人 instead of blonde, right? We didn't say blonde because blonde in Chinese would considered 金发人. It's like it doesn't really imply the inherent, the intricate and extricate quality of this person. So we didn't translate, we didn't bother with the exterior translation of blonde. Instead, we use 俏佳人. I think it's a better, quality. All right, cash into the currency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.